Okay, number 20, the sum of two numbers is 95. One of the numbers is 17 more than the other. What are the numbers? I'm going to go ahead and let X and Y represent my numbers. So if their sum is 95, then I'm going to have the equation X plus Y equals 95. Okay, and then one of them is 17 more than the other. So I'm going to say X is equal to Y plus 17. And now I need to solve for the two numbers. So this one is set up probably nicest to just do substitution. So with substitution, we want to go ahead and plug in the Y plus 17 in place of X. So we're going to say Y plus 17 plus Y equals 95. And so we have two Y's together on the same side. So that's 2Y plus 17 equals 95. We're going to subtract 17 from both sides. So we have 2Y. Oh, where am I at? Let's see. 2Y equals, sorry guys, what's 95 minus 17? 78. And then divide both sides by 2. Wow. 39? Now are we okay? Okay, so Y is 39, but we still don't know what X is. Probably the easiest way is just to remember that they add to 95. So you want to do the 95, X is equal to 95 minus the 39 we just found Y to be. And so X would be 56. So our two numbers would be 39 and 56.
Yeah, the answer's on the school.
I'm not sure.
I was in physics class.
21. Here we go. A canoe and a motorboat traveled toward each other from a distance of 70 miles. The motorboat moves 12 miles per hour faster than the canoe. The two boats passed after 2.5 hours. How fast does each boat move? So I'm going to say the boat is equal to the canoe plus 12 because it says it's 12 miles per hour faster. Does that make sense? Okay. So if I combine the speed, so if I said I want to do B plus C, but I'm going to replace the B with C plus 12, obviously. I'm going to plug this in right there. Then that gives me 2C plus 12. Do y'all agree with that? Okay. So 2C plus 12 would equal, well, you have to multiply that by 2.5 though, because it says that it's moving, or they pass, bless you, after 2.5 hours. So I'm going to erase that and kind of start over again. I'm going to make fun here. So we're going to do 2.5 times 2C plus 12, and that has to add up to, or come out to 70, because it says they're a distance of 70 from each other. So you want to solve that for C, and then whatever you get, obviously you can just add 12 to it to find out the boat speed. So we're going to distribute the 2.5. So we have 5C plus, what is that, 30? 2.5 times 12 is 30, right? Okay, equals 70. We're going to subtract 30 from both sides. So we have 5C equals 40. Divide both sides by 5, so C equals 8. So the canoe must be at 8 miles per hour, and the boat must be at 20 miles per hour, because it's 12 faster than the canoe. Okay, so 8 for C, and then 20 for B. If you don't like these problems, I'm with you. I never liked the trains passing and the canoes and boat speeds and all that. I'm with you, but we push on anyway. If I do, it's in the middle of the bookshelf there. Okay, a cross-country flight traveling with the wind covers 3,000 miles in 5 hours. The same plane then changes direction and travels to Texas against the wind, so it's obviously slower since it's going against the wind. So it can only cover 1,500 miles in 3 hours. What are the wind speed and the speed of the plane in still air? So I set it up as 3,000. Where am I at? 3,000 miles is equal to 5 times the plane plus the wind. And then the other total, where's our other total? 1,500 is equal to, that one is 3 hours, and that's going to be the plane minus the wind, because on that one, the wind is against you. Okay, when you're flying to Texas, the wind is pushing you, so it's making you faster. Does that make sense why one's addition and one's subtraction? Okay, cool. And so then we can distribute our 5 and distribute our 3. So I have new equations of 3,000 equals 5p plus 5w, and then 1,500 equals 3p minus 3w. So I want to multiply the top, I'm doing elimination to try to get something to cancel out. So I want to multiply the top equation by 3 and multiply the bottom equation by 5. What's that going to cause to cancel out? If I do this, what's going to cancel out? Some numbers are going to cancel out. Good. What numbers? Some values. Can y'all really not see what's going to cancel out? Aren't the W's going to cancel out because one's positive 15 and the other one's negative 15? And that's what I was going for. I want them to have opposite signs but the same coefficient, that number in the front, so that it can be 0 and cancels out. Okay, 5 times all that stuff. Let's see. 5 times 15. What is 5 times 15? How about 7,500, right? So 7,500 equals 15p minus 15w. So again, the 15w's cancel out because one's positive, one's negative. And we are adding. So 9,000 plus 7,500, would that be 16,500? And then that's going to be 30p. And divide both sides by 30. Y'all have calculators, right? It's like you don't want to help me at all today. Is it 550? Okay, and then you can plug it back to any of your original equations. So I would go back to the original here and plug in the P to be 550 and solve that for W. So if we have, make this simple, if we have 3,000 equals 5 times 550 plus W, a lot of students would want to like distribute the 5, but can't we just divide both sides by 5 and get rid of it? I think that's actually going to be a little bit quicker and easier. 3,000 divided by 5 is only, what, 600? Is that right? Hello? Is it 600, guys?
Yes.
Thank you. And then subtract 550 from both sides. So 600 minus 550 is 50. So the wind speed must have been 50 miles per hour. So the plane was going 550 miles per hour. The wind speed was 50 miles per hour. Oh. Okay, now we're going on to number 23. A lab contains 24 ounces of iodine solution of strength 15%. How much pure iodine would you mix with it to get an iodine solution of strength 25%? So the way I did this one is 0.15 times the 24. See if I write it all out, if it makes sense in a second. Plus X needs to be equal to a new solution of 0.25 times 24 plus X. That X being like how much new solution are we putting in there. And so we just need to solve this for X. So 0.15 times 24 is 3.6. So we have 3.6 plus X. We want to go ahead and distribute the 0.25. So 0.25 times 24 is 6. So we have equals 6 plus 0.25x. We are going to subtract 0.25x from both sides and subtract 3.6 from both sides. And I'm trying to do it all at once here. So these cancel out. And these cancel out. So we're left with 0.75x equals 6 minus 3.6. Would that be 2.4? And then we would divide both sides by 0.75. So we would get x is 3.2. So they would need to put 3.2, what's our unit? Ounces. They would need to put 3.2 ounces of the new solution to get it to be 25%. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Okay, number 24, an investment portfolio of stocks and bonds with an initial investment of 120,000 gained 30,800 over its life. If the stocks gain 32% and the bonds gain 16%, then how much was invested in each? So the way I set this one up is I did 0.32 times X. Let's see if I can find somewhere to fit it. And then plus 0.16, if this makes sense, times 120,000 minus X. So if X is how much I invested, okay, so X is how much I invested in stocks, then if I totally invested 120,000, then wouldn't I have 120,000 minus however much I invested in stocks left to invest in bonds?
Yes.
Okay. And all of that needs to equal what I gained, which is the 30,800. So this is set equal to 30,800. And now we need to solve that for X. And X is going to give us how much we invested in the stocks. And then we can use that to figure out what's left to invest in bonds. So I would distribute the 0.16. So we have 0.32X plus 0.16 times 120,000. I believe that's 19,200. Please check me. And then minus 0.16x equals 30,800. Was that right, guys? Anybody check me? 0.16 times 120,000. Okay. And then we want to take the 0.32x and the minus 0.16x and put those together because they're on the same side. So 0.32 minus 0.16 is 0.16x. So we have 0.16x, 19,200 equals 30,800. So I want to subtract 19,200 from both sides. So 30,800 minus 19,200 is 11,600. Divide that by 0.16. So it looks like X is 72,500. So remember, that's how much is invested in stocks because X was with the 32%. Okay. Now to figure out what was invested in bonds, can't we just subtract it from the 120,000 and you're left with what's left to invest for bonds? So again, X is stocks. So to figure out your bonds investment, you can just take the 120,000 and you want to subtract the 72,500 that you used for stocks, and you are left with 47,500. So those are your two investments, stocks and bonds. Questions over any of that?
No, it just makes me not want to feel
Isn't that your plan?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, you're going to have Excel sheets and all that fun stuff to do those calculations for you, so you'll be all right. Yep. So it says solve the linear inequalities, graph the solution, and give the answer in interval notation. So our first equation, we want to distribute the 3. And so we have 3x minus 15 plus 2x greater than or equal to 2x plus 6. So the 3x and the 2x can be combined. So we have 5x minus 15 greater than or equal to 2x plus 6. We want to subtract 2x from both sides. And I could also add 15 to both sides. Go ahead and do it all in this one little step here. So I have 3x greater than or equal to 21. Divide both sides by 3, so x is greater than or equal to 7. So when they're asking you to graph the solution, they mean the number line. And I think you guys saw that in the last packet we did, right? It was on your test, okay? So this one you would have, I don't know, you'd have a number line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it says it's greater than or equal to 7. Is it going to be a closed-in dot or an open dot? It's going to be closed because it's greater than or equal to, okay? It's only when you divide by a negative that you flip the inequality symbol. That is correct, okay? They also asked us to give the answer in interval notation. So interval notation for this problem, for number 25, the answer would be bracket 7, comma, infinity, parenthesis. Infinity never gets a bracket because you can't equal infinity. You can't touch infinity. It just keeps going forever. So if you can't equal it, you put a parenthesis on it. If you can equal it, you put a bracket on it. Okay?
You only do that for inequalities, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Number 27, we have two different equations to solve. We're going to kind of handle them separately. So first thing we're going to do is distribute this 3. So we have 3x minus 24 is less than 21. We're going to add 24 to both sides. So we have 3x is less than 21 plus 24 is that 45? So x is less than 15 because 45 divided by 3 is 15. Okay. Separately, we're going to solve the other side of it. So we're going to subtract 1 from both sides. So I have 5x is greater than negative 15. Divide both sides by 5. So I have x is greater than negative 3. So graphing that,
You take 2 lines.
you don't need to do 2 lines. You're going to still put them on the same line, but you're going to have a dot in 2 different places. So 0 would be in the middle. Let's say we have negative 3 over here. We have 15 over here. Are they going to get open dots or closed dots? They're both going to get open dots because you can't equal those numbers. You can strictly be less than 15 or greater than negative 3. How can you be less than 15 and be greater than negative 3?
Just connect the dot.
Okay, it's only the space in between them.
Yeah. This what it is.
Does that make sense to everybody? Because you have to do both things. You have to be greater than negative 3 and you have to be less than 15. So you're somewhere in between there.
Now that you wrote it, then it clicked that you only put on that.
So the interval notation would be parenthesis negative 3, 15 parenthesis. Because you can't equal either one of them, so you don't put a bracket on it. Okay, 26. We're gonna, it's kind of like 2 equations again, right? Kind of weird. I'm gonna go ahead and distribute the negative 2 to both things. So I have negative 3 less than or equal to negative 2x. Negative 2 times 0.5 would be negative 1, right? Less than 4. Okay? I'm going to try to solve this all at one time. Hopefully this doesn't mess you up. I'm going to add 1 to get that out of the middle. But if I add 1 to the middle, I have to add 1 to the left, and I have to add 1 to the right.
So then you have negative 2 plus 5.
So this one cancels out. And so I have negative 2 less than or equal to negative 2x less than 5. Now I divide all the pieces by negative 2. What have y'all been telling me that it flips all those inequalities, doesn't it? So they got 1 greater than or equal x greater than negative 5 halves, which is, can I just rewrite that as negative 2.5? Because that would be easier to think about kind of on the number line. Okay, so on our number line, we would be at negative 2.5. And then we'd have like a 0 in the middle, and then we'd have 1 over here somewhere. Okay, the 1 gets to be colored in, doesn't it? And then the negative 2.5 is an open dot, and it says you're less than 1. If you kind of read it backwards there, you have x is less than or equal to 1, so it's going to the left, but greater than negative 2.5. So isn't that the space in between again?
It's not always the space.
It's not always the space in between. Okay, and so if we did the bracket parenthesis interval notation stuff, we would do parenthesis negative 2.5, comma 1 with a bracket.
Yeah. I remember that stuff now.
I knew it was in your brain somewhere. We just have to bring it back. So you don't need to take remedial math. That is the goal.
How many math questions is it that we don't get credit for and we can't teach? Which real math is like,
Most degrees require college algebra. If you're in a STEM degree, like engineering, science, mathematics, you need a lot of math. Like Cal 1, Cal 2, Cal 3. But if you're just going to go get you want to be a second grade teacher, then you would just need like college algebra. You don't need anything beyond that. You can. You take the CLEP test. CLEP, CLEP. No, you can be in college and still go take the CLEP test. Okay, number 28, I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I'm going to do 2x is greater than 16, divide both sides by 2, so x is greater than 8. or we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So we have negative 3x is greater than or equal to 21. We're going to divide by negative 3, so don't forget to flip your thing. So flip the inequality, negative 7. Why is it positive 7?
Negative 21 over a negative. Oh, wait, that's the inequality. Yeah.
I'm good again? Okay. So for number 28, that's where we're at. I'll just do it down here. We have our points that we're looking at are 8 and negative 7, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one's going to get the closed dot? The negative 7 because it's got the bar, but then the 8's an open dot because it doesn't have the little equal to bar under there. X is greater than 8 or less than negative 7. So that's the one where it's going out, you know, it's going out, but it can be this or this.
I don't know why. There was like one thing about it. What?
It's not too bad though, is it?
No, it's not terrible. There was one thing that I always had. Oh, no. We had to like write out a really long thing every time we did it. I forgot what it was. Because we didn't just have to like do that and then say like, oh, it's this or this.
Which reminds me, I forgot to do this. Wouldn't we also need to go bracket negative 7, comma 8, close parenthesis, whatever?
I think we had to like write that down.
Yuck. Okay, 29. We want stuff to cancel out, guys, but you can't just be like, oh, 7x and x, those have an x. No, a whole chunk has to cancel out. So you want to factor everything the most you can. What can you factor the top to be? 6 is either 1 and 6 or 3 and 2. 3 and 2 is not going to help us, so it better be 1 and 6, right? So, ooh, but that doesn't work, does it? What's that? It's already simplified. Okay, they must want us to do long division. Here we go. X times what gives you x squared? Then don't forget, you have to distribute it back. So we have x squared minus 4x. Don't forget that we're subtracting this from above. Cancels out. Negative 7x minus negative 4x becomes negative 7x plus 4x. So it's negative 3x. X times negative 3 would give you negative 3x. Don't forget, we're distributing it back. That's what students forget about. Oh, I already forgot something. Wasn't I supposed to bring down the next term? Sorry about that. Okay, so now distribute the negative 3 back. So we have negative 3x plus 12. Don't forget we're subtracting, though. Cancels out. Negative 6 minus positive 12 is negative 6 minus 12, which is negative 18. Is that right?
Yeah.
So remember that when you have a remainder, you write it over, and actually I'm going to leave it up here and call this plus. I always like to do that. Over x minus 4. You write it back over whatever you're dividing by.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Not fun?
No, that is the thing. But either that or like telling you that you can't derive an equation for something that makes it way easier if you do and you don't have to figure it out. That's another one that really sucks. Because it's like the whole point of deriving an equation is to make life easy. It makes physics make sense. Unless you can't.
To make 2x turn into 8x cubed, I would multiply it by 4x squared.
No, it's, yeah. One minus that.
And then we would distribute it back. You must make the sound effects. 8x cubed plus 4x. Uh-oh. It doesn't line up, does it?
I hate it. No, I hate it. Oh, wait, no.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Shh. Relax. Breathe. Wouldn't this just be 0x squared?
Yeah.
Okay. But then I can't lose the other stuff. I still had an 8x and I still had an 11, right? Okay. So now I'm okay. Yes. I just forgot to look at making sure all the terms are represented, not the end of the world. Okay, but we are subtracting.
Negative 4x squared that we have to deal with later, like.
No, we deal with it now. 2x times negative 2x would give us that, right?
Yeah.
Distribute that negative 2x, so you have, forgot to bring down my 8x. You let me forget again.
Need 11 too, if you really want.
We will at the end, not yet. Okay, so negative 2x times 2x is negative 4x squared. That was our goal. And the negative 2x times 1 is minus 2x, but we are subtracting them. Cancels out. So it becomes plus, right? And so that's 10x. And I'm not going to forget this time. I'm going to bring down the 11. And then I'm going to say 2x times 5 would give me 10x. And I'm going to distribute the 5. So then that gives me 10x plus 5. And remember, we're subtracting. Cancels out. And then 11 minus 5 is 6. So we'd say plus 6 over 2x plus 1. Not too bad.
No, I really hate this first.
Why would you ever?
Yeah, where is that used in real life?
Yeah.
On your algebra test on Friday, May 18th. Okay. 31.
All right, I just won't show up.
Solve the equation for x and simplify if possible. So you have two possibilities here. Okay, you have that 3x minus 1 is going to be 8, but couldn't everything in there be negative as well?
Yeah.
So we could say that 3x minus 1 is negative 8. You're going to solve both of those and get two solutions. So 3x equals 9, so x equals 3.
Yeah.
3x equals negative 7. Yep. So x equals negative 7/3 would work as well.
Graph. Now we have to graph, and it's an inequality, which means I have to remember that stupid line rule. If it's greater than or equal to, like dash the line or whatever.
How do you know to dash the line or not dash the line? It's just the close dot open dot thing. If the equal to bar is there, it's a solid line. If it's not, it's a dash line. Like, no big deal. Okay, but let's get it in the form y equals mx plus b so that we know where to graph it at. And so we have 3y greater than or equal to negative 4x plus 24. Divide by 3 gives us y is greater than or equal to negative 4/3 x plus 8. Everybody okay with that?
Sure.
So then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot. And then our slope is down 4/3. And solid line, do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, and is it greater than or is it less than?
I mean, it says greater.
It's greater than, so we shade above.
Oh yeah, it's right, the shading thing.
If it had been less than, we would shade below.
If you have the, it'll do it for you on your calculator.
Absolutely, it will do it on your graphing calculator.
Rather do above or below.
But you still have to put in the form y equals mx plus b unless you have like an inspire.
Or yeah, the spiral. Nobody needs that. Oh yeah.
Okay, graph the solution to each system of the inequalities on an xy coordinate plane. So 2x plus y is less than or equal to 4. I'm going to change that so y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. Is that okay? Just move the 2x over. What?
Oh yeah, you did. Sorry, my brain.
It's okay. Y is greater than or equal to 0. Wouldn't that be just a solid line going through the x-axis?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, and it's going to be greater than, so we're going to shade above that.
So is this where they like overlap?
Yep.
Shade, and you have to find the area.
You don't have to find the area, but just everywhere within the overlap is the solution.
Okay.
Okay, and then positive 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Slope is negative 2, so we're going to go down to an over 1. And again, that's going to be a solid line. It says less than this time, so less than would be shaded this way. And so our solution would just be this part right here.
So how do you get the area?
You don't have to get the area. We are not in calculus, sir.
But, you know, I'm sure somebody can ask.
In calculus, you do learn to find the area under stuff, yeah. So this is our solution. It's just where the area intersects. Okay, this one I'm going to change it to y is greater than negative x plus 4. And it looks like the second one already looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to leave it alone. So positive 4, down 1 over 1. Dotted line, right?
Yeah, because it's
And it's greater than, so shade above it. And then the other line is negative 4. And then up 2 over 1. Solid line this time, agree?
yes.
Okay, it says less than, so you want to shade below it. So their intersection is this right here.
See, that's what I hate is when it gets a triangle like that, then you have to do protagonist again, and then you have to do something else, and then you have to figure out areas. Oh, those problems suck. That's literally what I do in architecture all the time. That makes my brain go God. Because that's literally like beam analysis. When you have two beams that are running, and you have to find like the area that's not filled in with wood, and you have to see the tensile strength of the wood and figure out how much pressure is coming down from the beam, and you have to know the gravity is 9.841 meters per second squared. It's awful. It's really awful.
Moving on.
Yeah, 34. That's good.
Okay, so 34, do y'all agree, is perfect squares?
Yeah.
So then you just have to memorize the rule that it's 4x and 7y. And what do you need to worry about with your signs? One of them's plus and one of them's minus, so you can get that middle term to cancel out. Ooh, what about 35?
You know, you really could just put a parenthesis here on the whole square. You could do like x plus y squared.
Nope.
No, because that would give you.
You have to have 2xy in the middle, right?
So it's already back.
What did y'all used to write? Not factorable or simplified, or what do y'all write?
Simplified.
It's not undefined, it's just already simplified. You can't factor it any further. How about x cubed plus y cubed?
Same thing. You can't do anything.
Isn't this the one that you can do x plus y, x squared minus 2xy plus y squared? Or no, yeah. It's in there from when I taught Algebra 2 a long time ago. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. But does it work? Double check me because it has been a while. It works, right?
Yeah.
Because this term times this term cancels each other out, right? No.
Wait. No, it wouldn't because you would have.
Okay, so you know what? We should FOIL it and see what happens. So that's x cubed minus 2x squared y. It's going to work, guys. I believe in me. And then we're going to distribute the y. Maybe this is supposed to be a minus. It's been a while. X squared y minus 2xy squared plus y cubed. So that doesn't cancel, so I have a problem. Was this supposed to be minus?
I don't know. If it would, then wouldn't it end up as
I feel like one of these are supposed to be, but we'll see what happens now. X cubed 2xy. There's a square there. And then minus. Do I need a 2 here? Wow, I thought I remembered from Algebra 2.
that's long and really specific.
I just put a 2 and we shouldn't have put a 2.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be x plus y, right?
Yeah.
And then x squared minus xy plus y squared.
Yeah, that's
So now let's see if it works. So x cubed minus x squared y plus xy squared, and then distribute the y. So you get x squared y minus xy squared plus y squared. Cancels out, cancels out. Now it's beautiful, and that I meant a cube there. Okay, sorry about that. We're not going to make it? Okay, 37, to factor that, you would do x minus y and x minus y. Think through that a second. X times x is x squared. Negative xy and negative xy gives you 2 negative xy's, and then you have your positive y squared. Okay, 38, again, you have perfect squares. So you have a 7x and an 8, a 7x and an 8. So when you look at distributing, like foiling that, you do get the 112 because you have the 56x and the 56x. Okay, on 39, we can take out an x, we can take out a y, and we can take out a 2, can't we? So we're left with x squared minus 2x minus 3, and then that factor, so we still have a 2xy out front, and then we're left with x minus 3 and x plus 1, agree? So that would be the final answer. Okay, 40 would factor to 9 plus y squared and 9 minus y squared. And then didn't y'all learn that you're supposed to like flip this around to and like negative y squared plus 9, and then you factor out a negative? Do y'all remember all this? Are you needing me to pick up here next time because I've lost you? Okay. We're definitely not done with 40, but we'll start back at 40 next time.